Welcome to the Building Doors Podcast, where we're not just pushing for opportunities for women's voices to be heard, we're creating them. I'm Christy Harst, voiceover actor and creator of the Building Doors campaign. Join us as we amplify voices, break barriers, and build doors together.
Hi, I'm Marian Mills, and I'm a door builder in the Building Doors campaign. My journey into voiceover probably started when I was a little kid, because I've always loved commercials, and I was always the only one laughing at commercials, and everyone else is looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what's funny? And although I never told anyone, I always secretly wondered about the voice behind different trailers and different things like that. But as a kid, I always wanted to be an on-screen actress, of course. And I think the reason I wanted to be an on-screen actress is because it was a way for me to escape and get out all the different personalities that were in me, you know? And when I was in my 20s, I used to talk my aunt to sleep. Like, yeah, she would call me over and I would go to her house and talk her to sleep. She was an avid listener of books on tape and still is. And she actually is the first person who told me that I should look into doing something like this because I had a voice for it. But again, I never did anything with it, never looked into it. I just enjoyed talking her to sleep. Fast forward to 2018, I attended a concert in December for my favorite gospel artist, John P. Key, and I had the opportunity to meet him backstage. I told him that I was his biggest fan, and our birthdays are like a day apart. And he told me that I had a great voice. And I can't remember if he said that I should look into voiceover or something about using my voice. After that, I was like, that's a revelation and confirmation from God. I went out the next week and recorded my first demo. And that introduced me to coaching because the guy told me that I needed a lot of work. But of course, I was a social worker, not a voiceover artist. But that was when my journey began. After my military service, I struggled with what my career path was going to be. I did a lot of cashiering and customer service jobs, but didn't really have an idea or a passion for a career. I got a part-time job at the YMCA, and it was a game changer. Doing outreach with the YMCA reminded me of a passion that I had when I was younger that I had forgotten about. And that part-time job led me to getting my degree in social work. I worked in Child Protective Services, CPS, for a number of years, and I absolutely loved it. But I had a hidden secret, and that is I had been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and I was a functioning alcoholic. That environment just wasn't conducive to all of those mental health challenges. But it made me a great social worker and helped me connect with my clients. And now it's made me a great storyteller. I hid my mental health disorder from everyone. And I felt like I had to, because no one wants to be judged, or even worse, made fun of because they have a mental health disorder. And unfortunately, I heard how some of my colleagues talked about their clients that have depression or their clients that have anxiety. So it's like, if you feel that way about your client, I'm definitely not going to let it be known that I have the same struggles that my clients do. But it allowed me to have that compassion and understanding for my clients because I not only had been there, but I was still struggling with my mental health, with drinking every day. I never drank first thing in the morning or on the job, but I would literally drink every night. You know, now that I think about it, March 2014, that morning I was checking my emails and I was excited because it was a job interview for a company that I had been wanting to work for years. But unfortunately, I could not go because I was inpatient in North Carolina for a PTSD and alcohol program. And my counselor would not allow me to go. She wouldn't even allow me to do a phone interview. I was frustrated, but I knew I needed the healing, so I had to deal with it. I think it was a 3-month program, but whatever it was, I went through the program. It was just what I needed, and I was able to eventually get the job when they called me back for another job interview later on that year. And I started working for CPS. And I couldn't have been more happy. I literally cried during my orientation because I was just grateful. This is something I had been praying about and wanting. So it was just everything coming to fruition. 2014 was my last inpatient stay. Anytime I went to the hospital, it was voluntary. It was because I knew I was struggling and I needed help. So I admitted myself to the hospital, and while I was there, the social worker that worked my case was someone I was in grad school with. And I didn't have it in me to care or be embarrassed. She was very compassionate and wanted to make sure I was okay, but I knew I was where I needed to be. But I did tell my counselor I didn't want to be anywhere that felt familiar here. So she told me about the program that was in North Carolina. All of those things led me to appreciate everything I had been through. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly, I'd be too embarrassed to tell anybody that. But it's made me an understanding, compassionate, empathetic person and helped me connect with my clients. And now it's made me a great storyteller. You could say a bipolar storyteller, where I can cover things that are very dark, gritty, and difficult to lighthearted and compassionate. I'm just so blessed to be in a position to talk for a living. Like, do you know how many jobs I've lost or was written up because I was spending too much time with the client? Or the number of times I got in trouble in school for talking too much? Now I'm getting paid to talk. The transition from working for somebody and owning my own business was a difficult transition, but I got a mentor and he helped me really understand the business aspect of voiceover and owning my own business. Even as a social worker, I always loved knowing more than what I needed to know. So when it comes to voiceover, it's no different. You know, I want to be able to do every genre of voiceover there is. I started out in commercial and I feel like I've perfected that. So I want to try my hand at anything that comes my way. I've been working with a coach in promo. I've even worked with a coach on some animation, video games, just to kind of help get those characters out and get all those personalities that are in me out. And I would love to try my hand at an audiobook. I would probably start with a self-help book because, you know, it's the social worker in me that is always going to go to something that's helpful, educational, supportive, all of those different things. So yeah, I want to try my hand at that as well. I just don't want to put myself in a box. If an opportunity comes my way, I want to try it. If it works, great. I may have found a new love, but I have been censored for way too long. And voiceover gave me literally the voice to literally allow all aspects of my personality to shine. I want to share a little secret. I've always hated my voice. Even after I started in voiceover, I did not like my voice. I didn't like my voice because a lot of people thought I sounded like a man and still do. There are times I've gotten a call from a doctor's office or a company that I've been dealing with, and the whole time they're like, yes, sir, no, sir. But over time, when clients would tell me how powerful my voice is, how soothing, how rich and engaging it is, that's when I began to appreciate, not just love my voice, but really appreciate my voice. And that's when I knew that this was not a mistake. This is where I was always intended to be. All of the experiences, all of the hardship, all of the challenges, all of it, that speaks to the story that I tell and the way that I tell it. So I guess I would say be grateful for any challenges that you may have in your life because they're not a mistake. They're building character for where God always intended for you to be. Because without those experiences, the depth and the authenticity of the storytelling and the characters I bring are from experiences that I've had. But without those experiences, it wouldn't be there. Just know that every experience in life, even those where you may question why this is happening, it's no mistake. If my voice were a brand, it would be known for honesty, depth, transparency, and faith. Well, thanks for checking out my Building Doors podcast episode and for your support of the campaign. If you'd like to work together, you can email me at marian@marianmillsvoice.com and visit my website at marianmillsvoice.com to hear more of my work. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Building Doors podcast. Want to hear more? Check out all our episodes at buildingdoorsvo.com/podcast and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Building Doors VO. We'd love to hear from you, so call us on our 24/7 hotline at 216-307-1917 and leave us a voicemail with your thoughts. Do you want to support the podcast? Well, we love coffee. Buy us a cup through the link in the description or at buildingdoorsvo.com. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep speaking up, and let's keep building doors together.